So Blackburn Rovers have dabbled with a couple of formations this coming campaign, but what is the actual best? Well, today, we're going to find out. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at Blackburn Rovers and how on earth we're going to set ourselves up for the next remaining games. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you do, where you been? Smash your subscribe, one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Championship football. Whoa, football, we're going to all here under one Reisky. That's right, we started the campaign with a 4-2-3-1, but now we're opting for a back three or a back five or whatever you want to do it. But what, of course, is this winning ticket to get Blackburn Rovers moving up the table? Well, we'll talk about it, all of it, in just 1 second. If you do, where you been? Hit the old subscribe and a big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. Of course, I've got the lads together to talk all things about this. But before we do that, let's set a nice little like target of 30 likes. Can you do us a favour and get that like target going? Please, please, please. Costs you absolutely nothing, but it does wonders for the channel. It does wonders for Blackburn Rovers in, of course, the bigger picture here. But anyway, let's get chatting about how on earth we're going to set up moving forward. But the next question is, but I know we talked about the players, but what about this? Which is the best formation for Rovers moving forward? We started the season with a 4-2-3-1. More recently, since the past couple anyway, we've gone to a 3 at the back. So what's you talking? Let's start with Holmesy. We'll go back to front on this one. What is your take on it? What would you like to see moving forward? What would be the regular formation for you?
I mean, we got the win with the 3-4-1-2 last weekend. But I suppose with our central defenders that we've got at the moment, Carter being out injured, Miller's naturally a right back, if I'm not mistaken. So it gives him more comfortable there in that position. I think until we get a full-blooded centre defender to play at the centre back, control that area, maybe 3 at the back isn't such a bad thing with the wing backs pushing up a bit slightly more attacking, getting those crosses in, and Alabiosu getting up a bit further forward. I mean, listen, unfortunately I don't get as many games as I'd like to down here in South Africa. I've got to wait for them to be televised on ESPN. Or when it's on Sky, so I can't get to the game. So it's hard for me to judge how we were playing previously. I can only give you my thoughts on this last game. But yeah, maybe defer to one of the guys who are at the games every week and can give you a more insightful view on the tactics.
Well, let's go Denver. Denver, what are your take on them there, on the 2 formation options?
So I think they're pretty, if you think about it, in the build-up, they are very similar formations in the essence of, they're both interchangeable. If you look at the 5, the 5 at the back, you've got the 2 wing backs playing forward, you've got the 3 there. Vice versa when you're playing with it, because this is my coaching head now, guys. I'm sorry, I'm going to bore you here all asleep. Let's say one of the wing backs with the 4 at the back pushes forward. Maybe one of the centre backs, one of the CDMs will drop in, and then you've got your 3 back anyway. So I think the only main difference with this, of course, is that you've got both wing backs bombing forward, and you've just got 2 players up there, because of course that's the area of the pitch that we're struggling with at the minute, is scoring goals. You've got an extra body up there to try. So you've got Ohashi and Good Johnson up there to try and score these goals. We'd scored them today, but not today, on Saturday. But yeah, I can see why he switched to that and then trying to shore up the defence. But the issue, of course, is you've got teams now playing with 3 forwards. It's the popular thing. 3 at the back. You're individually. You're one-on-one basically with that defense. So you really do need your wing back to track back, and that's where we're getting caught out at the minute. When we've got the ball in transition, when the other team try and transition, that's where we're getting caught out at the minute with the high line, and you're playing with 3 at the back, 1v1 typically in certain scenarios, and we've got centre backs who aren't, I would say, the most quick, your McLaughlin and your Millers aren't rapid players. So it's where you need your discipline of your wing backs to really help out and create that block. But that we'll see. It's one of them where I think it depends on the game, and I think at some point we will probably transition back to the 4-2-3-1. But I see why he's transitioned to the 5 at the back, just to have a bit of stability. But it is killing us on the transitions at the minute, especially when we lose it stupidly in midfield, high and outside their box. So that's a thing to look at.
Jacob?
I think based off the past 2 games, you'd say that it's favouring the strikers a bit more this formation. Obviously, prior to that, prior to this formation switch, Yuki had one glance off him, so obviously I don't really count that. They had no goals between them, all 3 strikers, and then obviously past 2 games, Yuki's got one and Good Johnson's got one. So I think it was a needed switch. I think obviously prior to the international break, we were playing quite poorly in this formation in number one. I think number two. My only worry is like I said with Scott. Scott Wharton gets injured. We cannot carry on with this formation unless you put maybe a Harry Picker in there, which wouldn't be the worst idea at left centre half. He was quite good Leicester away when we stayed up and we played a back five. He played that left centre half role. But yeah, I think obviously it favours Albiasu, Deneve in those wing back roles, lets them bomb forward a bit more. The only problem is they've not got that runner in front of them to kind of play off. I were thinking, do you maybe put the extra man in midfield before obviously, Yuki and Good Johnson scored these goals because, what's the point in playing 2 strikers up front when none of them are scoring? Obviously, that's kind of changing, and hopefully they can both kick on. But I was thinking maybe get an extra man in midfield and see what can happen there. We've got a few options, obviously, in the midfield spaces. So, yeah, I'd stick with number 2 for now, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when one of the centre halves get injured. They can't carry on playing week in, week out all season, can they?
No, and does it change from 2-1 with Cantwell coming back? Does that influence the decision? Do you think, Jonty?
Good question. I think this is my personal opinion. As you all know, I've got quite a simple mind. I don't overthink things, so I'm thinking number 1 is more of a away formation. Number 2 is more of a home formation, because number 1, I'm basically seeing that it's a slightly safer bet, and number 2, I'm seeing it's a little bit more of a.
We did play 2 at Coventry, John. I think it was more of a back 5, obviously, because we were pinned in.
Yeah, there's an element of that. I think number 2 at home is a little bit more of a kamikaze. That's the word I was looking for, which is ironic seeing that we've got 2 Japanese players, but we've got it's a bit more of a kamikaze. Kamikaze approach, and therefore it's a bit of a gamble, as we saw against Sheffield United. But when we need it against Southampton, it works for us. So I'm not going to overthink this one too much. I think number 1's a safe bet. Number 2's a slightly more kamikaze approach. But let's decide upon who our opposition are before we decide upon what formation we play to a certain extent, is my opinion.
Appreciate that, guys, and appreciate you guys, of course, watching at home. Make sure you smash that like on your way out and smash the subscribe if you're new. Your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers content is here. We've got, of course, all things covered here. Watch-alongs, previews, pre-games, all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, we'll be back whenever we return. Until then, we're done.